So is the assumption now that the EU isn't going to negotiate a deal with us?
Well, the government's position is clear. UK is leaving the European Union at the end of October. Now, of course, we prefer to do that with a new deal, the one that removes this undemocratic backstop, and we're prepared to enter into those negotiations in a spirit of friendship and determination. But if the EU doesn't want to do that, then it is right that we are absolutely prepared for that, and that's what the government is doing with turbocharging preparations for no deal. That is now the government's number one priority.
I mean, we just heard from Nathalie Loiseau, the former Europe minister, close ally of the French president. She said that the choice is the withdrawal agreement, including the backstop, or no deal. So it looks like you're going to go for no deal.
Well, it's absolutely right that we prepare for it. We must be able to leave on our own terms. We can't be subject to the decisions of other people. But as I said, we would be happy to enter into renegotiations. We want to remove this undemocratic backstop from the existing agreement. But if the EU is not willing to talk about that, then it's right that we prepare properly with conviction and, importantly, with the financial resources that the Treasury will now supply properly for all departments to make those preparations for our coming departure.
The Treasury will now supply properly. Are you suggesting that under Philip Hammond they won't supply that?
No, I think what you'll see now is you've seen a real step up in activity. I've only been in the Treasury a couple of days. The Chancellor, Sajid Javid, and I have been in meetings already on this issue. He'll be making an announcement next week about the extra funding that we'll be making available to make preparations. We're hiring 500 more border force guards, for example. We're going to be investing in new IT infrastructure for people.
500 new border force. They're not going to be ready by October, are they?
Yes, there's already. That's on top of the ones that have already been hired. But there's lots of things we're doing. I mean, we will actually be helping small businesses prepare for this departure at the end of October. That's one of the areas which people have said we could do more. We want to do more. You'll hear more from us on that next week. We're going to have probably the largest public information campaign in, if not in history, and certainly in a very long time, to get this country properly prepared to leave the European Union at the end of October. And that energy, that turbocharging, has happened already, and we've really hit the ground running, and there'll be more to come.
Your boss, the Chancellor, Sajid Javid, has said this morning that all the money necessary will be available to departments to prepare for no deal. Is that a blank cheque?
No, of course not. Blank cheque. Our job is to make sure that we get value for money whenever we spend money. It's taxpayers' money. People watching your show want to know that that money is being spent properly. But what we want to do is make sure we are, fully prepared, and that does mean spending some money. But it's important to know a lot of that money would need to be spent anyway. We're going to be leaving the European Union, leaving the customs union and the single market. That is going to mean change for our country, how we trade. So investing in new equipment, IT, border force, all of those are things that we'd have to do anyway. So it's not money wasted. It's just money that we're going to do right now to make sure we are prepared to leave right now at the end of October.
Okay, so if it's not a blank cheque, how much money is it then?
Well, Sajid will be making an announcement about this next week.
But there is a limit. There is a limit that he'll be announcing.
We're engaging right now with all our departments to find out what exactly their plans are to make sure that they are as operationally ready as they can be to leave at the end of October. Michael Gove is chairing a new set of committee structures to put some energy and urgency into this. And as I said, you'll be seeing, we've only been here for a couple of days, and in a couple of days' time, you'll be hearing from Sajid on exactly what we will be doing.
I thought it was 1,000,000 to 1 chance that we were going to be leaving with no deal. Why are we spending all this money on something that's 1,000,000 to 1 chance?
Well, we want to make sure that we are prepared. Right? We need to be able to
for
send
1,000,000 to 1 chance. That's very very careful.
What we're seeing from the European Union is, if they're, as you had someone on your show just earlier, we want to try and leave with a negotiated deal, one that removes this undemocratic backstop, and we stand ready. We are willing to negotiate, to engage in talks. We do that in a spirit of friendship and cooperation, but also with determination. And that, along that determination, means that we must be prepared to walk away and leave on our own terms, which is why these preparations are so important.
Okay, we're hearing a lot about determination, about positive attitude. Where's the money coming from?
Well, the good news is we can afford this. And the reason we can afford this is because there's been some very careful management of the economy. There's £26.6 billion of fiscal headroom next year. And the good news is that we've met our fiscal targets already.
Can we just say what? Because headroom is one of those words that I think a lot of people don't really understand. That's borrowing, isn't it?
Yes.
There is a capacity to borrow more up to that much. So what we're actually talking about here is borrowing more to fund no deal preparations.
Borrowing now is at a 17-year low, and that's been the very careful stewardship of the economy that we've had. The fiscal rules that we had set ourselves, that Philip Hammond had set, we've actually met 1 year early. So That's where that capacity comes from. But just more broadly, when it talks about whether you're affording no deal prep, or whether it's the investment in the police, or levelling up all our regions, or investing in our schools and NHS, the reason we can do all of that is because we do have a strong economy. Wages are now rising at the fastest rate in over a decade. More people are in work than ever. Unemployment is low. Investment in the UK is still very high. There is strong growth. All of that, that's what you get with a Conservative government. That's what gives us the ability to invest in our public services and make these vital preparations.
Okay,